Well, I hear a lot about densities and dimensions. People talking about it, wondering about it, theories, people's experiences with this. And I have to admit, I passed through them, the dimensions. It was interesting, it was educational, it was necessary even. But I wouldn't say it was going someplace. These dimensions to me felt more like being part of my inner self. It was part of my inner journey. You start by seeing energy. That's where it started for me anyways. And then that leads into seeing into other worlds, going into other worlds, exploring. But let me tell you a secret. They don't exist. Not in a real sense, not like the moon exists. They are part of your inner world. You carry them around with you. If you're open to the sixth chakra, the sixth density, you can be living physically anywhere. You can be living in hell and surrounded by fire and brimstone, and it won't matter. The sixth density is all that you will experience. Like I said in my sermon last spring, the second coming of Christ is a personal experience, and you will have it when you are ready, not before, and you won't have to go anywhere to have it. You become the second coming of Christ. Likewise, you become the kingdom of God. Like a turtle carrying its shell around everywhere it goes. I live in the seventh density. Here, everything has disappeared. There are no densities, no heaven or hell. All is one. Now it's your turn to join me. Let's have a talk about how this is done. Well, God and the devil, they're arguing about fences that separate heaven and hell. And you know, some of the demons are coming up and the fence is kind of down in places and not built very well, and the demons are sneaking up here into heaven, and that can't be allowed. They get shooed back there, but they keep on coming. And then, you know, some of these people in heaven, they want a weekend and maybe a warmer climate. So they go down there and they move through the broken parts of the fence, and they spend the weekend down in hell, and they come back feeling all warm. Well, you know, this is a story, right? So there's a fence problem, and one day God is walking down there by the lower part of his kingdom and where the fence is, and Satan just happens to be walking along there too, and they talk. They lean on the fence and they talk, and God says, you know, this fence needs repair. I'm not sure what to do about it. Maybe it should be rebuilt. And Satan says, yeah, it's a good idea. Good. So God says, oh, well, that's settled. I'll tell you what, I will rebuild this part of the fence, my part of the fence, and you rebuild this other part of the fence. That will be your responsibility. Can we do that? Oh, sure. Yes, no problem. We'll do it. So God goes right to work, gets his angels to work, and they build a new fence in the part that he agreed to rebuild. And time goes on, and nothing is being done to Satan's part of the fence, and God is down there wandering around again, and Satan is down there wandering around, and they meet, and they lean on the fence, and God says, Satan, your part of the fence isn't even started to get built. What's the problem? Says, oh, yeah, I'll get around to it. No, my part is done, and you haven't kept your part of the bargain, and you just get to work, and you fix your part of the fence. And Satan says, well, I don't feel like it. Well, God says, you have to. You agreed. Well, I don't feel like it. I don't think I will. And God is getting mad now. Can you imagine God being mad? Well, he was the God of the Old Testament if he was mad then, right? So God says, Satan, if you don't build your part of the fence, why, I'm going to sue you. And Satan says back to him, oh, really? And where are you going to get a lawyer? Now, we are standing on the beach, and I have a stick. And with the stick, I draw a line in the sand. I point to either side of the line I had drawn. Over here is you in your world. Over here is God in God's world. Ever since you were born, you haven't crossed the boundary that separates them. Would you like to cross the boundary? How, you ask? And don't tell me I need a lawyer. No, you only need to take a foot and rub the line out, like so. And so I just do that. I take my foot and I reach over and undraw the line. Swish. Sand goes everywhere. The line is no more. Here's another way to look at it. Look in a mirror. Any mirror. What do you see? Myself, you reply. Okay? Can you draw a line between you and the image of you in the mirror? And don't be so sure that you can do that. Look deeper. What do you really see in the mirror? You reply, oh, no, you don't. I know your type. You're a strict trickster, a conjurer. Maybe I am, maybe not. Look, anyways, there's someone there you haven't met yet. There on the other side of that glass, in the mirror world. Go ahead. Look. You look at your reflection for something. You know not what. I'll give you a hint. Concentrate on the eyes. So you do. You've been duped into looking. All you can see is your eyes. The eyes gazing back at you are just eyes. Nothing changes. You widen them, trying to look surprised. You glance out of the corner of your eyes like, trying to look sly. It is uncanny, but whatever you do, nobody was at home. Behind your irises was empty space, blankness. I ask, what do you see? Nothing, you shoot back. Glad to be right after all. Then, your pupils grow larger. You focus on your right pupil, which keeps dilating until you think your iris might disappear. Only then do you realize that your pupil isn't expanding. You are being drawn into its growing point of darkness. You are being drawn into its growing point of darkness. As it begins to envelop you, you remember the TV show. TV image from your childhood. Zorro flourishing his black cape in the air, and the cape sweeps over you like nightfall, and then everything fades to black. Slowly, at first, and faster, the inner night sky lights up. Many stars are scattered across a field of dark blue. It feels like a three-dimensional place, not just an image. Yet, it must be just an image. After all, you're looking in a mirror. Hello, you call out. Your voice echoes as if in an empty auditorium. Hello! The night sky transforms into a tunnel and draws you in. A tiny point of light appears in the distance. There's nowhere else to go, so you head toward it. You keep going and going deep within. You reach a place of total silence. You look around, but see nothing. No God, no angels. Then you hear it. Can you imagine that? You hear the voice of God. What did he say? What did he say? You ask anxiously. He didn't say anything. He was laughing. Who was he laughing at? You or I? You ask. No one. He wasn't laughing at anybody. His laugh was everywhere. It filled the universe. It was the laugh of pure joy. Perhaps you can't imagine God laughing unless he was laughing at the horrible mess human beings have made on earth, in which case it was a cruel laugh. Now the devil, he might wear a grin, and for a good reason, but the sound of God laughing, it isn't cruel, and it isn't judgmental. Now know this, the person you meet in the mirror is in another dimension, and I said they don't exist. Am I a liar? No. That person you saw is you. It was nothing more than a reflection of you. Not a separate entity, just you. That makes you a whole lot more than you think you are. But it doesn't make you two separate beings. I'm talking about releasing consciousness from the delusion of duality. And I'm quoting Yogananda here, resting the mind, keeping it identified with one's own real nature of unity and spirit. You have hypnotized yourself into thinking that you are a human being, whereas, in reality, you are a God. That's what I'm here to tell you. You are a God. Your body is like a container, filled with who you are. Your soul is a container too, just a different dimension of it. What I have stumbled upon is a part of me that is not a container. No walls, infinite, boundless. But who are you? The body, soul, or this boundless nothingness? The person living a human life on this planet Earth, or a laughing God? The answer is all of it. And you cannot make a list of who you are because you are all of it. There is no line dividing you into parts because you are God, and God has no parts. The Daoist name for God is the Tao, meaning the way. Another term they have for God is the absolute void. A void is the absence of something, so the absolute void must mean the absence of everything. Complete nothingness. To others, New Age particularly, God is wholeness, absolute wholeness. Whereas the void is nothing, wholeness is everything, complete wholeness. Which is it? What is God really? Can we humans make up our mind? I think the problem is that we don't have a word for it. We can use the word God, but then what does that word tell us? Does it tell us anything about the true nature of supreme intelligence? Or the nature of the Tao? Can something be a complete void and a complete wholeness simultaneously? A paradox. Let's go back to the beginning. By staring in the mirror at your eyes or doing any number of other meditations, you will wake this kind of thing up. It's a step. For a moment, it will seem as if you're able to cross the line I drew in the sand. But there is no line. It is an illusion. Nonetheless, when you come back, you will not be the same. At the end of the grandest of all journeys, enlightenment, you will laugh with God. You will not be able to help yourself, and all creation will laugh with you because there is no duality, no division, none that I can find. Do the meditation until it becomes an experience. Do the meditation until it becomes an experience. A middle-aged woman drops dead of a heart attack. When she gets to heaven, God says, oh, there has been a terrible mistake. Oh my goodness, you're not due to die for another 40 years. The woman wakes up and goes home. She figures she's got such a long life ahead of her, she might as well look good. She goes in for plastic surgery. Facelift, boob job, tummy tuck, the works. 2 months later, she's crossing the street and a bus hits her. Boom! This time when she gets to heaven, she says to God, what's going on? I was supposed to live for another 40 years. And God says, oh, Maybell, is that you? When you are standing before God someday, what will he say? Will you laugh with God? Or will there be weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth? Will he welcome you with open arms as the parable of the prodigal son suggests? Or will he say, depart ye, who are the workers of iniquity, I know you not? Which will it be? It depends on which heaven you end up in. The one ruled by fear or the one ruled by love. But the truth is that God does not see a sinner or a saint. He only sees himself. I'm going to repeat a story I told last month. It bears retelling. 3 objects, a gold ring, a gold nugget, and a gold signet seal, belong to a rich collector. When he sleeps, they argue all the time. The gold ring declares that it was better than the other 2 because it was made for a rich bride. The gold nugget says it was better than the other 2 because miners risked their life to find it. The gold signet said it was better than the other 2 because it had sealed the messages of a king. And right there, let's stop the story and point out that they had made an assumption. They assumed that they were 3 separate beings. They had to be. How else could they be arguing? One day the ring said, let's ask God. He will decide which of us is the best. The other 2 agreed, and so they approached the Almighty. Each made its claim for being superior. God listened carefully, and when they were all done, he said, I can't settle your dispute. I'm sorry. The gold signet grew angry. What do you mean? You can't settle it. You're God. That's the problem, said God. I don't see a ring, a nugget, and a seal. All I see is gold. Each of you are gold, not a ring, a nugget, or a seal. And as gold, you are one with God because he is gold. There is no separation, no separate version of you looking back from the mirror. There are no dimensions, only the one. When you know that in your heart, then you, like me, will have stumbled upon the part of you that is not a container, no walls, infinite, boundless. This is who you are. Not a container, and certainly not many containers. Now, I have attempted, again, to describe the kingdom of God or union. I understand the problem. There are no words to describe what I am feeling. The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao, said Lao Tzu. I will continue trying, each time using a different set of words or symbols, hoping that one of them will ring true for you and set you